Welcome to Transformer Travis's next video review. Now this is a little bit of an older figure at this point. I mean, most of you may already have this or may not. But this is the motorcycle Junkheap mold from the Generations line. I believe this one is Junkheap. I'm trying to remember his name just because he was one of the random ones that they just made up for the line. Now as you can see, he does have spinning wheels and a kickstand, and a bunch of little details here and there. So if you look here, it does look like he's got an engine block. He's got handles. He's got like a little gas cap that's kind of looks like the old Minicon symbol there. I don't know how clear that is on there. He's got a little bit of a clear front headlights there, give him a illusion of a headlights. Now he does look more like a dirt bike than a traditional motorcycle, just from the proportions they have him and this little front part there. But I do enjoy this figure. And they do hide a little axe back here as an exhaust pipe. And then on this side you got the kickstand and then more of that molded detail. Now you're going to notice on him that he's got a little bit of a different color scheme from this guy. Which, if I could not knock things over, which is the Wreckgar. Now Wreckgar, of course, we all know him. He was voiced by Eric Idle, and then when he was made into a garbage truck on the animated series, he was voiced by Weird Al Yankovic, which actually his song Dare to Be Stupid was playing in the 1986 Transformers animated movie, which is the best Transformers movie there is. The Michael Bay ones, they're okay movies, but they're not that much Transformers movies. They have Transformers as a gimmick. They're not Transformers as the main characters. They have Sam, and then I don't even remember the character from the last movie, and Mark Wahlberg playing a Texan with a Boston accent, a heavy Boston accent. It was just horrible to listen to. Now, that's my opinion on the movies, and I'll talk about those some other time. Now, one of the nice things here on this one, because this one came from the Generations line, and this one came from the Reveal the Shield line. Reveal the Shield line, if you notice here, has the good old classic rub symbols. I know we all missed those from back in G1 and G2 era where we had those. But they did bring it back for these guys. Only a few guys were in the Reveal the Shield line. It wasn't that big of a line. Now, like I said, you're going to notice the different color schemes. Like I said, this is just a generic Junkheap, and then this is the leader, Wreckgar. Now, there are many upgrade kits that you can get for these guys, different paints. There's a Tarantulas version that the Collectors Club did, which does look pretty sweet. But these are just the classic two that you could get from the store. Now, with Wreckgar here, you're going to see what that exhaust pipe turns into is this axe right here. And I'm going to go over this guy's articulation this time, something I haven't been doing in videos up until this point. Like I said, I'm still in the learning process, so we're going to get better at this as we go. Now, one of the things you're going to notice here is he does have a ball-jointed shoulder, which gives him a full 360, and then you can bring it out and in. Now, on mine here, this does come out of his shoulder there. Get that out of the way. You see his shoulder comes out a little bit there. On this side, it sticks in a little bit more, but it's minuscule, so you're not going to really notice it for the most part. So then he's got a bend at the elbow, and then he's got a bicep swivel. He's got a wrist swivel, and then he's got articulated, or not an articulated, but a pseudo-articulated hand where it looks like his hands have fingers. And now, if you notice on him, his hand's a little bit different than most of your pseudo hands. Now, see the way his fingers are shaped? That's made to make it look like he's driving a motorcycle where you're pulling on the throttle or the brake. Now, another point you're going to see is his other arm here does have the same ball joint, wrist, bicep swivel, wrist swivel, elbow joint, all that stuff. Now, it doesn't really hit that much, but there is... Back here, the kickstand does occasionally bump and make it so it's hard to get him in some positions with his arm, but those are very few and far between. Now, one thing I do like on Wreckgar here is he does have his facial hair. That is one of the things I did like on Wreckgar, and when they started introducing the facial hair on the Transformers. Well, facial metal, I should say, because it's really not hair. Now, you're going to get some people that are going, well, they're robots. They shouldn't have hair. Well, to that point is, if you've watched some of the newer series, they call it CNA instead of DNA, ribonucleic acid, where really they're more of a silicon-based life form than a carbon-based life form, which makes them more of an organic than a robotic being now. And that's just one of the ways they've explained it, and There's so many different explanations on depending on which series you're looking at, where they got males, females, all that stuff. Then some of the newer stuff, they're like being a female's a choice, and then some of the older stuff, you're born a female. It just really depends on which version you're looking at, what you're going to get. Now, back to the articulation, he does have a ball-jointed waist, so he gets a little bit of an ab crunch, and he's got a full 360 spin on here, and that's mainly used because in transformation, you got to spin this around, because if you're going to notice right here, right there is his waist, and he's spun, and these are his legs folded up on him. So as you can see, his legs do become his seat, and then the front part of the motorcycle itself. Now, he does have some articulation in this foot here where you can close it. This foot here is really just more or less moving up and down. Now, it's on a ball joint, so it does got some ankle pivot. Sorry, my hand's in the way there. Got some ankle pivot on that. And so you can spin it around and get him into some interesting poses with that, which does make it easy to pose him. Now, he's got ball jointed hips that also have this here where I don't always get mine connected and lock him in. But the fact that it doesn't lock in right here makes it a little bit easy for getting some extra posability, because you can pull his leg out a little bit farther with that, but it should technically be pushed all the way in. Now, he's got a thigh swivel. Like I said, the ball jointed hip, which gives him full 360 motion, inwards, outwards. And then he's got a classic knee that can bend. Looks, instead, because 90 degrees would be here, so past 90, we're going to go to not quite 180, but maybe like 160 degree bend at the knee. And like I said, he's got the ankle pivot here because this foot's also on a ball joint. Now, they did put his motorcycle wheel here and then his other wheel up here. Now, you can technically pop these parts off if you didn't want them on there, but they technically should be there. Now, like I said, there are these upgrade kits where you can get new chest plates, new faces, and whatnot. So if you had a bunch of this guy here, you could get a bunch of upgrade kits and make them into many, many different Junkions, because there's chest plates, there's new weapons, there's new wheels that you can get. You can get spike wheel covers. There's so many different options with the upgrade kits that you could make a Junkion army, and you could have dozens, if not hundreds, of different combinations, because all the different paint jobs that you can get. You can get the Wreckgar, you can get the Tarantulas, you can get the Botcon colors where they were done more in the Insecticon colors. And then you got this guy, and just so that's right there, like 4 or 5 different colors this mold comes in, plus those upgrade pieces, and there's different people make upgrade pieces, so you can mix and match, literally make hundreds of combinations and make an entire Junkion army. So it is possible to make hundreds of different versions of this guy with what's out there on the market. That's not including any customization you do on your own. Now, one thing I will notice here is on this one here, his axe is solid gray, whereas on this one here, it's got yellow on the blades. And I do like the yellow a little bit more, but that goes with him, not him. Now, there are stickers you can get for this. Ripple Labels, I believe, has some, and you can make these blades like shiny or different colors. One of the other things you're going to notice on him is he does have like a head piping. It's not quite light piping for the eyes because his eyes are painted. So you're going to see his painted eyes, but his head is piped so that it's clear. Now, I'm not quite sure the look they're going for with that, but I'm going to try something here on camera and see if it works very well. I'm going to go ahead and put this back there so you can see. This is going to be my light piping light. You can see how that looks with the red light. So it looks kind of sinister like that. Now this was Wreckgar, and I believe Junkheap is, like I said, the one over there. Now what I'm going to do now is I'm going to bring in some other figures and do some size comparisons. So I'm going to move this guy back and go grab those guys real fast. Alright, so first up I'm going to go ahead and compare his robot mode with one of my third-party figures. Now this guy had done a little bit of sharpening too. I'm going to go ahead and update him later. But this is my Quintesson Scientist. Now you can see he's about the same size, so this does scale rather well with some of the third-party figures that were in the generation size. So there's that guy. Now some of the other movie guys to show him off with. Well, Movie S, this is the Generation Scourge figure. Now, I do give my guys guns from other figures, so you're going to see some weapons come in that don't necessarily belong to that character, but I don't care. So there's him with Scourge. Now, one thing is, I do like this mold. I want to get the Serpentor mold for this. The club exclusive this year does look pretty good as a Serpentor, which is just a repaint of the Senator Ratback Japanese exclusive figure. Now with him, we're going to go ahead and show Cyclonus. So as you can see, Cyclonus is much bigger than him, but they're in scale to where they could be considered from the same show. Now with him, we're going to go ahead and show another guy from the Quintesson team. I'm going to show my little, I believe this is my Igear, or is this the, I can't remember which one, my little Sharkticon. Now I do enjoy this Sharkticon here. His teeth are very sharp, so you got to be careful with him, but I do like these little Sharkticons. All the little third-party ones do look pretty good in their own way. Now I feel this one looks the best in shark mode, whereas the other one might look a little bit better in robot mode. Alright, so now I'm going to go ahead and show him with a current deluxe figure, which is Alpha Bravo. And as you can see, he's in this roughly a little bit bigger than Alpha Bravo, but similar size class. So a lot of people have been complaining that the newer figures aren't quite as big as the old ones, but as you look, I mean, they're close. They're not identically the same size, but they're in roughly the same size class. But if you compare them to him, this guy is much bigger. But technically, Cyclonus was a bigger guy, so that works for me. Now we're going to go ahead and bring in another guy here from the Generations line. And this is G-Axis. So he's a little bit smaller than Wreckgar here. Once again, you're going to see weapons from other guys. I just like giving him the big guns. Now, I really am a fan of this head sculpt on him. Now, as other people have noted, I would like a G-Axis that was proper G-Axis colors with the green, red, yellow, all that craziness. So there's that with G-Axis. Now, I'm going to show it with an unpopular figure that I have that I don't think it's as horrible as some people make it out to be. I admit it's not perfect, but hey, it's definitely better than the G1 toy, Ironhide. Now I only have the Ironhide here. I don't have a Ratchet, so I just have Ironhide. The MP Ironhide's coming out. I'm not sure if I'm going to get that one or if I'm going to get one of the many third-party Ironhides. There are some third-party ones that do look rather well. But as you can see, this is a little bit older one. And as you can see there, he's a little bit bigger than Wreckgar if you head height, but not too much. He does have a little bit more mass to him, but this is Ironhide, so Ironhide should be a little chunky. Now, here's another one of the newer generations guy. Now, this one you can see he is a lot skinnier and smaller than Wreckgar. And they're only a year or two apart on their lines. And this is my Orion Pax. Now, in addition to Ironhide, here is my Ratchet I'm going to compare him with. Not animated, Ratchet from Transformers Prime. Now, this mold I do really enjoy. He's a very good representation of Ratchet. And I may do a video on him at some point. Ratchet was one of my favorite characters from the Prime series. He just was a very enjoyable character. I'm sick of Bumblebee. I'm pretty sure everybody's sick of Bumblebee at this point. And here he is with Perceptor. As you can see, the little bit of the theme what I'm bringing in is some of the guys that were in the 1986 movie. Not necessarily all the guys that were in it that I have, but there's him with Perceptor. Now this is another one of those molds that people don't really care for that much. I mean, it's not the greatest, but it's not as horrible as some people make it out to be. I've definitely seen much worse Transformers than some of them. So there's him. Now I'm going to go ahead and bring in another third-party guy. This is Mania King. And I do think Mania King is definitely a little bit scale with him. Mania King I think might be in scale with some Voyagers, but he's just hard to find a scale for. But this is he's just an awesome figure in general. And I did luck out and get the laser version. So I can make him shoot him with a laser. So I wasn't sure when I ordered him if I got the laser one or not. I didn't even know there was an LED versus a laser one, but since I ordered it from eBay, from somebody in China, they went ahead and gave me the laser version. So I'm going to go ahead and bring back Cyclonus. As you can see, Cyclonus is smaller, and then we got Scourge that's even smaller. Look. I put down this black mat because my tables I'm reviewing these guys on are very slick and hard to get guys to stand on. And also trying to do this one-handed is a little bit difficult. Now I am going to show another guy here, which will be another video I'm going to review. This is Nemesis Prime. Alternity. Nemesis Prime from the Alternity line. So I'm going to show that right here with him. As you can see, this motorcycle does not scale with anything. The motorcycle would probably be closer to scale for a motorcycle with maybe a Masterpiece line. So the Masterpiece line, the motorcycle scales with a little bit in motorcycle mode, but there's nowhere that this guy's going to fit perfectly in any scale because the motorcycle is either too big or his robot's too small. These are another example of mass shifting. Now, these were supposed to be giant motorcycles because they're Transformer-sized ones, but if you're trying to make it look like an Earth vehicle, it's just not going to work that way. Now, I have one other figure I'm going to put down here with him. The one and only Bumblebee that is not a blasphemy from the movies, which is MP Bumblebee. MP Bumblebee is what Bumblebee's supposed to look like. Short, little, chunky guy. And actually, if you look at it, this MP Bumblebee scales pretty well with Wreckgar here. Wreckgar was a little bit bigger than Bumblebee. Bumblebee's a little guy. And so that worked pretty well. Now, if you remember the old 80s G1 cartoon, scaling didn't work. They didn't scale for anything. One guy would be giant at one time he'd be small. I saw Bumblebee go inside of a house one time. It's like, unless that house has 12-foot high ceilings, this guy is a little bit too big for going inside of there. And so, scaling, not so much. Back in G1, they just kind of drew it to be fun. And that's what we loved it for. But like I said, this is the only Bumblebee that you should have. Masterpiece Bumblebee. I did forget one thing here, so we're going to go ahead and show this. See, on his crotch here, if you look, these little pegs there, he's got little holes there. He is meant to ride himself or one of his Junkions. It's a little bit hard to do on camera just because you can't see what you're doing. But like I said, that's why he has the hands out that like so that he can ride himself. And normally on my shelf, he's displayed like this, riding. I got one axe in the air like he's coming at you crazy. Because Wreckgar's a little bit crazy. So, there you go. Thank you guys.